Here's the plan. 4 days, 2 dafties, that's us, Owen and Aisling, a car and a budget of €100 per day to explore as much of one of Europe's most beautiful countries as possible. Welcome to our road trip across Portugal. But remember, this isn't just a road trip, this is a challenge. With only €100 per day, we need to find accommodation, eat, explore, and of course, rent and fuel a car, or it wouldn't really be much of a road trip, would it? We've just spent this past weekend in Lisbon, Portugal's capital city, and that's exactly where this road trip is kicking off from. But we've decided not to include Lisbon in this video, because after all, if you fly into Lisbon like we did, you don't really need a car to go around the city. But if you do want to see more about Lisbon, you can head over to our Lisbon video after this. But for now, you should really stick around here because
we just picked up our keys, so let's go see our new baby.
I can do this.
I am buzzing with this. We have rented ourselves a lovely wee BMW for the next couple of days for this road trip. So I think it's about time we hop in. We check out the inside, we'll show you a wee bit more later on, tell you a bit more about how and why we're renting the car. But let's get in the road. Keys. So as we said, this road trip's gonna last 4 days. So we have this car booked for the entire time. On day 1, which is today, we're making our way from Lisbon to Sintra in the west. Day 2, we're making our way north towards Obidos. Day 3, we're going to Porto city in the north of Portugal. And then day 4, we're going to drive the whole way back down to Lisbon to return the car and to fly out of the country. That's going to be a big drive in itself, all in one day, but we're up for it. We're also going to stop off at a few other locations along the way, so it's going to be a jam-packed 4-day trip. So we thought, why not start our road trip in one of the nicer, fancier areas of Portugal. We've come to Cascais, which is just south of Sintra, which is where we're going to be going next. And this area is stunning. It's a big holiday destination, and it's a very, very pricey destination come the summertime. A lot of people come here for quite luxurious breaks away. The town itself is really, really quirky, really quaint. It's lovely. It's not that busy at the moment. It's out of season. It's currently January. So prices are very cheap here at the moment. That's why we've decided to come for our morning activity. We're standing here at the minute looking out over the water. There's a lovely view of the beach. You can see loads of people out windsurfing as well, out sailing too, which is absolutely fab. So we're gonna go for a wee walk down the main area. There's a couple of pedestrian streets as well, but it's just gorgeous. And the sun is starting to peak.
Cascais is famous for quite a few different reasons. Number 1 is the architecture. The buildings here are incredible. There's some really, really nice places, especially down at the coast, that hopefully we will drive by later on and check out. But another thing that it's really famous for is all of the different restaurants you can get here. So many different types of cuisine, and something that I didn't expect was kind of like big, massive open areas like this with so many options of different restaurants. I know we are a little bit early, as Owen said, but I think if you were here like midday or early afternoon, this place would be buzzing. Something that I absolutely loved about Lisbon was all of the mosaic tiles in any pedestrian style area, and they are so cool, slightly trippy, but literally if you don't have a mosaic tile, you have a cobble street, and it just leads from one into the other.
It is a wee bit breezy here because we're obviously by the coast, but walking around the wee town actually feels like we're in a bit of a theme park. It's just that kind of vibe. You've got the trees going down up both sides of the road. It's so well maintained, it's ridiculous. It's super, super clean. There's lovely wee flowers everywhere. The grass is really freshly cut, and it's just absolutely wicked.
So we have a pretty action-packed few days with this road trip. We have tried to fit in as much as possible. So this morning, to save a little bit of time, we decided to go into a shop, pick up a few bits of pastries, a couple of coffees, and we are having breakfast on the go. So we were just on our way out of Cascais along this beautiful coastal route, and the waves were getting more and more intense the further down the road we got.
They are nuts. Like, I knew Portugal was known for having like massive waves, but these ones are bonkers. As I said, it's currently January. It's kind of out of the season's wintry time here, so like the weather's a wee bit grey, it's a wee bit drizzly. If you've seen our last video from Lisbon, you'll have seen like we could see very little out of the distance. It was just grey, and today is not much different. We are hoping as the road trip goes on, this is going to pick up. And
come on, blue skies.
A bit of blue sky, a bit of better weather, wait and see. But these waves are not to be messed with. our next stop is extremely windy. We have come to Cape Ruka, which is the most western point of the European continent. I'm not going to make you listen to that shocking audio, but as you can tell, this spot was intensely windy. This is Cape Ruka, the most western point in all of continental Europe, with a lighthouse and a cliff face that overlooks the Atlantic Ocean, hence why it's so windy. This spot was only about a 25 minutes drive from Cascais, so it only felt right that we had a quick stop off here since we had the car and it was super accessible. However, we clearly forgot that going to a super windy location means terrible audio footage, and that's totally our bad. I can definitely imagine how on a bright and sunny summer's day, Cape Ruka will be absolutely stunning. But today, unfortunately, as you can see, it's just cold, wet and windy. But we were still able to appreciate the rugged and fierce coastlines of Portugal and Europe's most western point. Plus, it's just one of them locations that's kind of cool to say you've been to.
It's the most western point of continental Europe! Woo!
The most western point of Western continental Europe. That's what she said there. Just take that in for a moment. Take that in what she just said.
Here, it's very windy. Leave me alone.
Do you want to give you brain damage or what?
White flash. We have just arrived to Sintra town, which is meant to be one of the most Instagrammable towns in all of Portugal, but not today.
It's currently lashing, lads. Like, the rain hasn't slacked off at all since we left that most western point of the country. It's just absolutely brutal at the moment, and we are going to see the town because we have come this far and this was the end destination for today. But we're nice and warm in the car at the moment, and we thought this was a perfect time to tell you more about our car rental.
So we got this car through DiscoverCars.com, which is a car rental comparison website.
DiscoverCars offer car rentals in 145 plus destinations around the world, and at some of the most affordable rates I have ever seen.
The website is so easy to use as well. You just go on, you select your pickup location, your dates, and you can pick whatever type of vehicle that you want.
Honestly, there's so many options, and what's even better is that you can prepay for your insurance up front on the website. So whenever we went to collect this car, we had no hidden costs whatsoever. It was just, here's your keys and away you go. We went for a lovely fancy wee BMW 1 Series, which is a wee bit classier than what we would normally
We've treated
rent.
ourselves.
We have.
That's because it's so cheap.
It's honestly ridiculous. The price for this car for 4 days was €80 total. €20 per day, including insurance. That price is honestly just scandalous. It is well within our €100 per day budget, and we love it. So if you want to rent a car during your next trip, make sure to head over to discovercars.com, or you can click the link in the bottom of this video description below. But for now, we're going to brave the rain. We're going to go see the town, and I suppose get wet. Let's do it. Sintra has quite a few things to do, and we really wanted to do most of the things when we came here today. But like, look at this. I just don't know if it's wise at all. Another downfall is that a lot of the things to do here in Sintra are paid activities. So there's a couple of different palaces. There's National Palace, there's also the Peniche Palace, I believe that's how it's pronounced, which is beautiful looking. However, it's like €20 to go in per person, and we are on a €100 per day budget challenge, so that just doesn't unfortunately fit in with our budget. There's a couple of lovely gardens you can go check out as well, but with a day like today, I just don't know, between the paid aspect and the weather aspect, if it's a wise decision, and I just don't think I'm feeling it, to be honest. So we are going to walk around, get wet, get blown away, see whatever it is we're going to see today, and I'm going to drop in right now a lovely wee hobby clip full of stock footage that I found online to show you what Sintra should be like and what we were expecting today.
But instead, we got this. This is just the reality when you're on a limited time frame and you want to do things, you want to go places, and you can't really change what the weather's doing. You just got to go with it or not do it at all, and I don't think that's an option. This is our first time in Portugal, and we want to see as much as possible, even if it is wet and rainy. As you can see, I look like an absolute drowned rat right now, and we had enough walking around the streets, and on our way back to the car we smelt an Indian that was too good to walk past. So we have come in and we have ordered ourselves a mali kofta and a butter chicken, 2 portions of rice, and oh my days, this looks absolutely fantastic. So we have just got back to the car and that Indian was absolutely delicious, and it was only €26 as well, so really affordable. And honestly, we had so much food, but it has knocked me for 6. So we are making our way to our accommodation for the night, and we're going to show you around in the morning.
Good morning, it is day 2 and we slept pretty average last night, to be honest with you, but I'll tell you why in a wee second. But this has been our accommodation for the night. It is right in Sintra, so really central, so it was perfect for where we were looking to stay. And the room itself is actually quite nice. We have a lovely big double bed. Over here we've even got TV, a wee fire, electric fire, and a wee heater because it is cold, as I said. We've got our fridge, and then we've also got a private bathroom over here with Aisling. But the reason we didn't sleep great is because it was so windy last night. And then behind this curtain is a shutter that doesn't actually go up, so we have no light coming in, unfortunately. But there is obviously a glass door behind the shutter, but the shutter was just rattling all night and the wind was just really strong, so that wasn't great. The room, however, was only €30 for the night, which is really good and in budget for our challenge, so we were more than happy with that. But today we're going to head out and we have a wee bit more driving to do. The only thing is, where we have parked the car is somewhat questionable, so I'm really hoping it's going to be okay, so fingers crossed, let's go see it.
And thankfully the car is all good.
Honestly, that was a wee bit of a worry whenever we were renting a car here, was trying to find an accommodation that we could park the car safely, because when you rent a car, like, it's in your responsibility. You don't want to like damage the car or something to happen to it. And finding an accommodation with a proper car park was a lot trickier than we thought, but this kind of done the job, as Ashley said. Thankfully she's okay. Like, this wee street, if you look down it, is honestly so narrow, and we've just had to like park up the side of it. It was a bit of a risk, it paid off. Let's go, let's get day 2 started.
So because we didn't have the best night's sleep last night, we slept in this morning and I need to get myself ready. Thankfully I have a fantastic mirror in here that I can do my makeup en route. And now that we've got out to the car, we have blue skies, no more rain, fingers crossed. So we are gonna make the drive north and hopefully the good weather continues.
So far the roads here in Portugal seem to be fantastic. There's highways and motorways connecting pretty much everywhere that we want to go. However, because there's a lot of highways and motorways, there's a lot of tolls that come with that, and we are doing a €100 budget challenge. So we're going to try to do our best to avoid the tolls to save a few extra quid. That just means that we're going to be driving a wee bit longer to get to each destination, but we don't mind. The car is lovely. I'm very happy driving it. It's super comfortable. We have a good radio, so it's all okay in my eyes. But yeah, if you do want to get around the country, Portugal's relatively small, and if you're happy to pay the tolls, you can do like the top to the bottom of the country in a pretty short time.
So the first stop on day 2 of our road trip is Peniche, which is a small city with not that much going on. We've already went for a little walk around the streets and it is beautiful, but it's extremely quiet. This place has a nice mixture of like an authentic town, but also a little bit more touristy. So if you want that side of it, it is here. But we didn't come for the city, we came for this.
The beach! This is our first beach since we have got here to Portugal, and the beaches in Portugal are meant to be absolutely out of this world, so we had to come and see them first thing on our road trip. When we were in Lisbon, we didn't really go to see any of them. The rain and the weather wasn't fantastic for us, but as you can see today, it is beautiful. It is a sunny day, and this beach in particular is gorgeous. It goes the whole way around the coast here. Peniche, as I said, is on like a wee blip of an island type of situation, and either side going into that kind of end area of the city, you've got a big long white sand stretch like this, and it just goes on for absolutely ages. Honestly, it is wicked. And out here we can see there's loads of people out surfing as well. Later on, we're going to go to another location where you'll see plenty more surfers. This is much more of a beginner level surfer spot, so like it's somewhere I would feel comfortable surfing. I'm not that great of a surfer, to be honest. I can get up on the board, but I'm not great. So I'd feel a bit comfortable here. Later on, however, where we're going, I think it's completely out of my territory. But this is beautiful. The sand is clean, it is soft as well, and it is just gorgeous. First beach in Portugal, not a letdown at all, lads.
Even though it is a lovely day, it's not quite warm enough to just be chilling on the beach in a bikini and enjoying the sun. And anyone that is in the water has a wetsuit on, so I'm gonna guess it's pretty chilly in there as well. But as Owen said, we just wanted to come and see a beach today, so we can now tick that one straight off our list. And our next destination is only 30 minutes down the road, so let's get going. And we've arrived to our next destination, which is Obidos, which is one of, if not the most well-preserved medieval town in all of Portugal. And the drive on the way in here was so impressive. We're gonna go and walk around the streets and take you with us.
Sitting on a hilltop for maximum dramatic effect, Obidos is fully encircled by its 12th century walls. The charming area is a labyrinth of cobble streets, whitewashed houses, and quirkiness around every corner. Obidos has been designated as a UNESCO City of Literature, and despite its small size, it packs a punch well above its weight in terms of history, culture, and sheer photogenic charm.
This is exactly what I expected when I think of like little quaint Portuguese towns in the middle of nowhere. Like, just look at this little alleyway we're on right now. There's greenery everywhere. There's ivory on the walls. There's like wee pops of colour here and there. It's fab. Can someone please explain to me why these sardine shops all over Portugal are such a big thing? This is the first time we've come into one, and there's sardine cans with 1940 on the front of them. Surely the sardines are not from the 1940s, but I am so confused by this whole setup. So if you know, please explain down below. So now that we've moved away from the coast, it's got a lot warmer, the jackets are coming off, and it's actually the perfect temperature here. Now it is only January, so we weren't really sure what the weather was going to be like, but if it stays like this, we cannot complain. So we had to give this a go while we were here because it's very famous in this exact location, and that is a sour cherry liqueur in a chocolate cup. You have two options. You can have white chocolate or you can have dark chocolate. I couldn't resist a bit of white chocolate, and yeah, let's give it a go. Oh, that's really
sweet.
Nice. Yeah, it's really sweet, but not overpowering, and quite like it warms the back of your throat then as well whenever you're...
Okay, I hear you.
I have the luxury of trying this one out because Owen is our designated driver, and I am not complaining at that either.
That is probably the only downfall about renting a car and doing a road trip, is that you can't really have a wee alcoholic beverage as you go along. Aisling can have a wee glass of wine if she wants. She can sample this, which actually looks really tasty. However, I think it's only fair that if she gets to drink the liqueur, I get to eat her chocolate cup. That's my opinion anyway. Look at the face on that.
I did not agree to that. That was not part of the agreement. We can go back and just ask them for a chocolate cup for Owen. He's been a really good boy. Here's a chocolate cup.
Wow, thanks. And what's even better, they are only €150.
I like that price. And they also do come in a ceramic cup for $2.50. You need to keep the wee cup as a souvenir, but I like chocolate. As
Aisling said, this is one of the most well-preserved medieval towns in all of Portugal, and I totally see it. The place is honestly spectacularly clean. Like, it is in such good condition. These walls are like fully like intact. Like, it is wild. Normally when you come to places like this, it's normally largely like ruins that you're finding and that you're walking into, and it's a wee bit kind of deteriorated. This place is totally different. Like, the place is so well preserved. It's actually blowing my mind. The only other place I can think to this extent that is like this well preserved in terms of like a walled in location, probably Dubrovnik in Croatia. And we've seen a lot of walled in kind of medieval towns, medieval cities. We just spent a long time in China and we visited a lot of walls out there. Of course, we visited the Great Wall as well. But this one is probably the prettiest, in my opinion anyway.
Is all well and good getting up to these locations to get a fabulous view, but then you have to go back down the really steep, unprotected staircase. There's no barriers, there's nothing holding you in. You just gotta be very, very careful.
Or you go straight down there. And that's not on the cards today for us. That's not happening, lads. No. These watchtowers in each corner of the wall are actually wicked. You can see way out into the distance, and like today it has turned into a beautiful clear day at the moment, which is fantastic as well.
We are surrounded by fields.
Covered, like the place is so lush, so green. Kind of a wee bit homely in a sense in terms of like just like the greenery and kind of the nature like surrounding us.
Not the weather.
But not the weather, no, and also not the buildings. Like all of the wee Portuguese style like houses and the wee roofs with their like red tiles are literally gorgeous. It is fantastic. So you can walk the whole wall here as well, which we're about to do. This is only one of the watchtowers, but we're going to do the whole lap the whole way around here.
And just whenever you say it's really homely, if anyone knows Newry in County Down, these archways that are over here remind me of a spot just outside of the town.
My life, what is she talking about? Lads, if anybody actually does know what she's on about. Oh, God almighty, so funny. So the three destinations we're visiting today are all only about a 30-40 minutes max drive from each other, which means we don't spend a lot of time in the car today, which is lovely. However, I do really enjoy driving this car. It's fantastic. Having the car just makes doing this road trip and going to these locations so much easier and more practical. You could still go visit all these places if you were doing public transport. You probably wouldn't be able to squeeze them all in the same amount of time that we're doing. It would be a wee bit more tricky. So having a car is definitely the way forward.
So we just made another little pit stop because we wanted some pasties de nata, and these are absolutely amazing. Out of little, we get 6 for €1.96. €1.96 for 6 pasties de nata, and honestly these are absolutely amazing. We had some really good ones when we were in Lisbon from like some proper bakeries, but Lidl's kind of putting them to the test, not gonna lie. That if you're Portuguese, that might be like complete blasphemy, but for me it's not bad, and we probably will be stopping off for quite a few rounds of 6 pasties de nata along this road trip.
And our final stop off of the day, and where we're going to be spending tonight, is Nazare, which is probably one of Portugal's most famous locations, and that is because of the giant waves that the coastline gets here. It's a massive place for surfing. Every year there's huge big surf tournaments that happen, and people come out and try and attempt to surf these absolutely ridiculously massive waves. We're walking down the hill toward, there's a really famous like cliff viewpoint area, and that's where we're actually aiming to go and stand and watch for a while and look at the waves and look out to sea. And what we can see in front of us right now is honestly like deathly. Like, these waves take no prisoners. They are absolutely savage from the distance here. We're not even here to see the town. We will have a wee walk around the town later on, but the waves is the reason we've come, so we are wasting no time. We're going straight to the coastline. So as you can see, I've had to get myself wrapped up. It's getting very breezy out here now that we've made our way to the cliff. We were standing up here, which is right at the cliff edge, and now we're making our way down to the beach to watch the waves because, oh my god, they are just absolutely ridiculously massive. The waves here can actually go up until 30 meters in height, which is bonkers. And the reason the waves are so big here is because underneath the seabed there's a canyon here, and it's like a big crack in the ocean basically that like swallows up the waves and then spits them out and causes these giant waves. There's 3 places in the entire planet that get waves of this size. There's here, there's a place in Brazil, and there's somewhere else that I can't remember. I'll put it here wherever it is, but they are just like, as you can see, like absolutely nuts. Like hats off to anybody that goes out and attempts to surf out there. That is an extreme sport like no other. There is nobody out surfing at the minute, which is a wee bit disappointing. And this is the right time to come. So the time of year they recommend people to come here to check out the giant waves and to surf is actually between November and March, so during the winter season. We're here in January, which is kind of peak season for it. But unfortunately there's nobody out. It is later in the evening too. I don't know if that contributes towards it, but I'll find a wee clip of people like doing some of the competitions, surfing some of the waves. I'll drop it in here for you to see because it is next level. I remember I used to sit on top of my bed and watch like videos on YouTube of people surfing these, and I was really hoping we would see people surfing today, and it's just not the case. But it's still incredibly impressive whether there's people out on the boards or not. These waves are taking my breath away. Good morning, road trippers.
Good morning.
That was awful. Where did
That
that come
was.
out of? That was the cringy thing I think I've ever come out with. That was awful.
Go.
Let's do that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have woke up in Nazare this morning and we have struck gold this morning. It has been was a beautiful blue skied sunny morning.
We got up, we walked around the town, it was absolutely gorgeous, and we
was.
realised there was a lot of people walking towards the cliffs, so we of course followed like sheep, and there were giant waves with surfers.
It turns out that the waves this morning were 20 meters high, which are actually classed as giant waves. And so I went on, you can like go onto the website and you can like
nerd
track
it
the
out.
waves. Yeah, completely nerd it out. You can go on and track the waves online basically. You can find out their height and the predicted like kind of schedule and so on. And yeah, they were 20 meters this morning. We've seen people actually out surfing on them, which was just a pure like, even for us watching, like adrenaline like fueled thing.
And it was
Oh my God.
intense watching the surfers, but then also watching the
man.
jet ski people that like were taking the surfers out to the waves.
It was even more
Whoa,
intense. Like
mad.
the whole thing was nuts. And like I was a wee bit disappointed yesterday, to be honest with you, that I didn't get to see any people out surfing. It was a big thing I wanted to experience and see here in Portugal. And now I feel like we've completed that mission, a big tick off the list, off our Portugal bucket list, and I'm absolutely buzzing. Now, I did say it was a beautiful blue sky sunny day. It's kind of changed at the moment. The rain has kind of come back and it's a wee bit miserly at the moment.
Yeah, we got a little bit further down the road and we stopped in for a little bit of breakfast.
Of course, we went to Lidl, got ourselves a couple of chocolate croissants, a couple of pastries, another wee tally onto the budget down there. We'll just add it up. And this morning we have quite a big drive to get to our first location, especially because we're taking the no toll route.
Yes, it's going to take us a while, so we might have a few stop-offs, a
We'll wait
few
and
pit
see.
stops, but we'll try and get the most of it out of it. And hopefully by the time we get to our location, it will be better weather. So everyone, cross your fingers.
Let's wait
please.
and see, lads. Let's wait and see. Alright, we have finally made it to Aveiro, which is our first stop off for today, and the sky is gorgeous behind us. So this area is known for its canals that run the whole way through the town. It's meant to be very quaint, very quirky, and we're gonna go see what it's all about. So the town itself is actually super quiet at the moment, and there's a lot of things seem to be closed, and I don't know whether it's because of them 2 reasons or maybe it's just the type of place that it is, but it feels kind of a wee bit sad nearly walking around it. There's just not a lot happening. Some of the architecture, the buildings, the designs are really interesting and nice, but like, I don't know, I'm just not getting like a real happy buzzy feeling about the place. There is a few tourists walking around as well as us, because clearly this is a place for people to go. Oh, it's just getting windy, but I don't know, I'm not massively rating the place. And like, it was a big drive to get here. It was and is en route to where we're going today. We're finishing out in Porto. So it doesn't really matter because we were stopping off. And I do think that we only need like an hour, maybe 2 hours around here. And we were told that in advance. We were chatting to a few guys a few days ago, told us definitely do come and visit here, but like you're not need long to spend there. And yeah, they were spot on. So glad we stopped off. Not going to spend much more time here because we still have quite a bit of a drive to go to get to Porto, and it is getting later in the evening.
So even though Owen did say it's a little bit sad, there are some really cute areas around the city as well. Here we've basically got like a ribbon bridge, and there's quite a few of them dotted along this canal, and it's I think the same idea as like, you know, sometimes you get the lock bridges in different cities. Well, here you come, you write your names onto the ribbon and then you hang them up here. And if we wait just a few moments, there is a boat passing right underneath us. Right here. Hi. So this wasn't exactly the stop off that we were hoping for, but we've seen, and we can tick it off the list. Now we're gonna hop back in the car and make our way to Porto.
Alright, we have finally made it to Porto. The drive here was much longer than we expected. Not taking the toll routes added so much more onto the journey, and we did get a wee bit tired. So as you can clearly see, we have checked into our new home for the night, which is actually relatively nice. It was €30 for the night. It's quite cushy. And what's a wee bit kind of quirky about it is that we're actually in like the attic part of like a wee hotel B&B kind of setup, and we have got a full staircase the whole way down to our door. And Ashling just chilling. But we are tired, as I said. We did go for a wee bit of dinner before we came here. We went to a lovely traditional Portuguese style restaurant, and it was wicked. We got some veal, some potatoes, some mackerel, some veg. Oh, it was just absolutely gorgeous. And then I also did get a wee Superbock, a wee local beer. Ashling got a wee glass of wine because the restaurant's only walking distance down here from the accommodation, so it was perfect. We spent a total of €36 on dinner, which I will admit was a wee bit more than what we wanted to spend, but it is what it is. We're here now, and we are bait and going to call it a night because tomorrow is our final day of the trip, and we want to see as much of Porto as possible. So we'll see you in the morning.
So today is our fourth and final day of the road trip, and it is also our last day here in Portugal. We fly out of Lisbon really late tonight. We have a flight around 11 p.m, which means we have the entire day to explore Porto. And we're coming to one of the most popular markets here in Porto, and I have tried to pronounce its name and it's just not happening. So this is the name, and we're gonna head in here for some breakfast.
We have finally decided on our breakfast, and this morning we went for a couple of sandwiches. We've got a lovely chicken and cheese sandwich, a beautiful looking ham and cheese, and the ham is literally like pouring out of it. I got myself a wee espresso. Ashling got a lovely wee mixed berry fruit tea. We spent a total of €9.90, so breakfast wasn't too bad, and this area is lovely. You can get a bit of fresh fruit, you can get some souvenirs, you can get some baguettes like we have here. We are going to eat these, and then we're going to have a wee walk. It is raining at the moment, which isn't fantastic, and there's a lot of birds coming in. So it is breakfast time. Porto looks like it was hand painted by a very enthusiastic artist. And just like Lisbon, these old trams transport locals and tourists around the city, making everything that little bit more convenient. Porto is a coastal city, and we have come down now at the minute along the river that runs straight through the city, and it is beautiful. The sun is thankfully coming out as well, and we've got lovely bright blue skies. However, this morning it was a wee bit grey and mizzly, and right now we're looking at the bridge that crosses between the two sides here in Porto, and we're going to go for a wee walk across it as well. But the place is beautiful. We've just picked ourselves up another wee coffee, another wee tally to the budget there, and hopefully the weather continues. The Douro River really is the star of the show in Porto, and all along the river's front you've got restaurants, bars and plenty of street entertainment. And once you cross the Domleash Primero Bridge, which was actually designed by a student of Gustav Eiffel, who, well, of course designed the Eiffel Tower, you enter into a port lover's heaven. Here you can tour historical wine cellars, learn about the very serious science of wine aging, and of course do some wine tasting. But as we said, we have a big drive ahead of us today, so unfortunately, yet again, we're going to have to skip out on the alcohol.
I must say I am thoroughly enjoying Porto. It is such a beautiful city to look around, but this is just a word of warning. If you're going to any Portuguese city, make sure to pack good walking shoes. You're going to be up hills, down hills, through little alleyways, all over the place, and if you have a good pair of shoes, it'll make it all a little bit easier. We're just walking through another square area at the moment, and there's another busker out playing, and that's one thing we have seen all across the city today, down by the river, in different areas in front of like big castles and churches. People are out just playing music, and it is such a vibe.
So as you know, we started our trip in Lisbon, and honestly we didn't think we were going to find another location in Portugal that we liked as much. We honestly fell in love with the city. However, in saying that, after spending the day in Porto, I actually think I rate Porto higher than Lisbon. It is gorgeous. We have thoroughly enjoyed walking around here today. However, we have run out of time and we need to get back into the car and start this journey the whole way back to Lisbon Airport, which is a big drive, and we're not going to bore you with it because we've already taken you on the journey the whole way up to the northern part of the country. So we'll pick us up again once we get to the airport, and then we'll let you know our final total spend. As you can tell, we are no longer in the airport.
We are back in Ireland. It was such a rushing match to get to the airport. We got lost a few times. The rain was ridiculous. But anywho,
we've made it and we're back, and we have tallied up our total spend. So on screen, you've probably seen that our total spend was
€224.90.
But you probably also noticed that didn't include our accommodation in Nazare at €30 a night, dinner that night, a few other miscellaneous things, snacks, drinks,
pasties de
natas, and €80 worth of fuel. We had to leave it back full because we received it full.
But that was pretty good.
Not too bad. All of that brings our total overall spend for 4 days driving across Portugal
to, drumroll please, €379.90.
Lads, unreal. That's
a daily cost of €89.98, which just goes to show that you can do so much with a €100 budget.
Honestly, you can stretch that so far. So we really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit the like button down there and subscribe to the channel because we have another European road trip video coming right your way after this.
Bye.
See you later.